All right, give me questions about your homework then. Looking, if you didn't finish 10 and 13 through 20, do you have any questions about those? If you look at those, we did most of them together. Just putting it in standard form, naming the leading coefficient, the constant, the degree, and then classifying it. A cubic binomial or a quintic polynomial or whatever it was. Everybody okay there? All right. Let's look at 1 through 12 then. Any questions there? Number 12, I sure can. Number 12 is a good one. We actually didn't have time to talk about that one in here, but we did talk about it a little bit in in third block. So to do number 12, you had to know how to find the area of a trapezoid. Okay, and the area of a trapezoid, which we do in calculus all the time. Ah, thank you. There we go. Area of a trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay, so now let's read through the problem. The height of a trapezoid can be expressed as 2x plus 9, while the bases can be expressed as 3x minus 7 and x plus 5. Write an expression to represent the area of the trapezoid. So now all I have to do is plug these values in. So I've got the area equals 1/2. Well, base 1 is 3x minus 7, plus base 2 is x plus 5, and the height is 2x plus 9. So you've got multiple operations in here as we simplify. I'm going to work innermost parentheses first. So if I combine like terms here, what is 3x and x? 3x plus 1x is 4x. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2 times 2x plus 9. Now I'm in a distribute situation, so this is where I was talking to you Friday, telling you be very, very, very careful. You can't multiply more than 2 things at one time. So pick any 2 that you want. It doesn't matter. I would probably do these 2 since these are both even numbers here. So that when I distribute the 1/2, I get 2x minus 1. Now I am going to, well, not really FOIL, but distribute. Same thing. 2x times 2x is what? 2x times 9. Negative 1 times 2x. That's right. And negative 1 times 9. Negative 9. Gather your like terms together. So I have 4x squared plus 16x minus. That's got a little bit of everything in there. A little bit of combined like terms, a little bit of multiply, a little bit of add in the middle. What else on your homework? 15 would be a constant monomial. Yeah. What was what? The homework started on the first page. Well, we did most of it together on Friday, so it went through 20, but we skipped 11 and 12. Flipped over, and we did 1 through 12. Today we're going to do 13 through 18, and then for homework 1 through 22. What else on your homework? Yeah. You're welcome. parts in 8. So I'm just going to pick any two to multiply together, clean up, and then I'll multiply to the next. I generally start with the one that has the whole coefficient in front. So if I distribute this through, I get negative 3a minus 15. Now I'm going to multiply to this one. Start with the negative 3a. Negative 3a times a is what? Negative 3a squared. Negative 3a times negative 2. Positive 6a. I'm done with this one because it's distributed through to everything. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Negative 15 times a. And then negative 15 times negative 2 plus 30. Clean it up first before you take it to the next piece. So this would be negative 3a squared minus 9a plus 30. I still got one more piece here. See how we're just doing 2 at a time, 2 at a time, 2 at a time until we get through everything. So now I'll start with the negative 3a squared, and I'm going to bounce that to everybody in the second parentheses. So negative 3a squared times a. Negative 3a squared times 8. Nobody? I'm done with that one. Now to the negative 9a. Negative 9a times a. Negative 9a squared. Negative 9a times 8. Lots of places to mess up here, so be neat and take your time as you go through. Now the 30. 30 times a. And 30 times 8. Gather up your like terms, so negative 3a cubed, and then I have negative 24 and negative 9, which would give me negative 33. Then I have negative 72 and positive 30. Negative, what is it? 42. And then I've got 240. If I were asked to classify this, what type of polynomial is it by both degree and number of terms? A cubic polynomial. This is a cubic polynomial. What is the degree? Leading coefficient? Constant. 240. Exactly right. Other questions? Very good. On Friday because it really is easy, but with everything we had going on with the project and everything else, we kind of broke right there and let you have a little bit of a breather the weekend so we can pick up, and today should be fairly easy, and we'll have a little bit of everything for homework tonight. So what we'll do is we're going through 13 through 18 here. I'm going to teach you how to do that. And then for homework tonight, you'll have 1 through 22, which is a combination of everything so far. So let's talk about polynomial division, and we'll get to some harder polynomial division. Right now, we're just going to talk about if I have a polynomial divided by a monomial. Now, if I use that terminology, does everybody know what I'm talking about? So multiple pieces divided by a single term. So I can write it as division this way, or I could write it as a fraction. And either one of those means divide. Now the reason this is easy is because we're going to split it up into smaller chunks to make it a little bit easier for us. And I think the easiest way to show you is just to take the very first example and show you how we're going to break it down. So number 13 says I'm 9m cubed minus 24m squared over 3m. Okay. Very, very important for you to note that what I'm fixing to show you only works when I have a monomial on the bottom, okay? And this is a monomial, right? On the bottom. Do you agree or disagree? Because why? Only one term. No addition or subtraction in the denominator is what you're looking for. Bless you. No plus or minus signs anywhere in the denominator. The top can have plus or minuses because it's a polynomial, but the bottom, no plus or minus. Anytime you encounter this, we can split this up into separate fractions. So, but if you like steps, split up. This is going to be my first step, is to split it up. So in other words, I can do, and this doesn't work if you've got a monomial up top and a polynomial on the bottom. Only when it's a monomial in the bottom can you do this. So I could rewrite this as 9m to the third over 3m minus 24m squared over 3m. And that denominator goes to both. No matter how many pieces you have, that denominator will go to both. Do y'all remember learning this when you learned about fractions? I hope so. If you didn't, that's okay. So now that I have it split up so that there's no addition or subtraction signs anywhere in the top or the bottom, it's just separate fractions, all I have to do is simplify each fraction. So now I'm back to my exponent properties, right? 9 divided by 3, 3. If I have 3 m's up top and 1 m in the bottom, m squared, that's exactly right. Minus, what's 24 divided by 3? 8. 2 minus 1, no, you don't have to put the 1. Is that a polynomial? There's two terms. What kind of polynomial is it? A binomial, right? A quadratic binomial. What's the leading coefficient? 3. What's the degree? What's the constant? 0. 0. No variable in it, right? And I am in standard form, so I'm good to go. Don't leave any negative exponents when you do this. We never want negative exponents as we go through. Let's kick it up a little bit. Let's look at 16 and then we'll come back to 15. $30C8D3 minus 36C6D2 plus 6C cubed all over 12C squared. Polynomial on top, monomial on the bottom. So what am I going to do? Separate it. Split them up. That's exactly right. So I've got 30C8D3 over 12C squared D minus 36 over 12 plus, am I going too fast? Okay. It looks a lot worse than what it is. Everybody caught up? All right, let's simplify each fraction. Just look at them one at a time, okay? 30 over 12, how might that simplify? What is it? 2.5, so 5 over 2. I've got 8 minus 2, which is, and 3 minus 1, which is, so yes, I could rewrite this, since 2 is the only thing in the bottom, as 5 over 2 C6D2. Same thing, either way you want to write it is okay. Let's look at fraction number 2, the one in the middle. 36 over 12 reduces to what? 3, just 3, right? 6 minus 2. 2 minus 1. That's right. Yeah, I'm going to just write this down here again. Wrote the first one. Now let's look at the last fraction. 6 over 12 reduces to 3 minus 2, just 1. And if they're in the top and the bottom, 1 minus 1 is 0, and anything to the 0 power is, so it just goes away. So this becomes 1/2. Does that make sense? It was a 0. Now I told you I was saving 15, and I was saving 15 because it looks a little bit different. What's different about 15? Doesn't appear to be divided, but it's got that negative exponent. You're exactly right. A4B3 minus 20, A2B2, 2AB times 2AB negative 1. What does that negative exponent do? It moves it to the bottom and makes it positive, right? So if you ever see this, this really means A4. That I'm multiplying by 1 over 2AB. Well, if I'm multiplying by 1 over 2AB, then really I'm doing what? Starts with a D. That's what we've been talking about. Dividing, right? Do you see that? If I have 1 over, if these are fractions, top times top and bottom times bottom, what I really have is 14a to the 4th b to the 3rd, 20a squared b squared, all over, that's not supposed to be an exponent. Ah! Does that make sense? Do you see what that negative exponent is doing? It's just moving it to the bottom of the fraction is all it's doing. If you did not have to take all these steps to do that. If you knew that this was over 1 and this moved it to the bottom, that's okay too. However you saw it is fine. I just wanted you to see why. Now what do? Separate them, split them up? That's exactly right. I've got 3 different fractions here. I don't know what's going to happen. I might not end up with 3, but right now I have 3. Remember, if I'm adding or subtracting in the bottom, this doesn't work. This only works because I'm adding and subtracting up top, and I have a single monomial in the bottom. All right, that first fraction. 7. B to the what? These are coming out nicely because I'm not ending up with anything in the denominator. I'm not ending up with negative exponents so far. 20 divided by 2? A, B. The last one cancels out, but what happens? It's 1. That's right. It can't, if you're in the situation of being in a fraction like this and you cancel out, you can leave them. But because everything cancels out, it's something divided by itself, which of course is just 1. What do you think? It's not too bad, right? Division by a monomial. That's the way all the division by a monomial is. So you got your properties of exponents that are coming back up, simplifying fractions, but other than that, I think you should be okay. I'm going to have you do 1 through 22, and I'll go ahead and let you start. You've got about 30 minutes. You should be able to knock it out. Just be careful on what the operation is that you're being asked to do. Like for number 6, that's not a subtraction up there. That's a times -6. So you've got a monomial divided by a monomial there. You're not dividing that way. I think that's all. I think everything else is pretty straightforward. Yeah, finish 13 through 18 what we didn't do together.